FICCI Tourism Committee, UP State Council, and the member of the National Committee for Travel, Tourism and Hospitality, I welcome all of you this afternoon and wish you a very happy Ganesh Chaturthi. I'm delighted to inform you that we are in the 6th edition of the series of webinars Being Tourism Ready, hosted by the Government of Uttar Pradesh, Department of Tourism, MKITM, and FICCI. This series was inaugurated on 20th of July by the Honorable Minister for Tourism and Culture, Government of Uttar Pradesh, Dr. Neelkant Tiwari, and the Principal Secretary, Tourism and Culture, Mr. Mukesh Meishram. Today, in a moment from now, both of them will be joining us, and we are blessed actually that both of them, Dr. Tiwari and Mr. Meishram, will be with us in a short while and a part of this last session of this series. Today's topic of the webinar is Ayodhya, India's newest tourism destination, which intends to bring forth all the ongoing developments in and around Ayodhya, opportunities for investments, and even the social benefits expected through tourism in Ayodhya. Today, we also intend to underscore what more can be done to make Ayodhya a perfect model tourism destination, and of course, a world-class tourist destination, making it India's newest. And to talk on this, we have a great panel, which includes, of course, our chief guest, Dr. Neelkant Tiwari, Minister of Tourism and Culture, Government of Uttar Pradesh. We will also have, in a short while from now, Mr. Mukesh Meishram, Principal Secretary, Tourism and Culture, Government of UP. Professor Manoj Dixit, former Vice Chancellor of Dr. RML Awadh University, Ayodhya, and the man on the field, a go-getter himself, Mr. Anuj Jha, the District Magistrate and Collector of Ayodhya. I welcome all of you this afternoon and all the 4,612 participants who are at the moment with us on different platforms and watching us live. Ladies and gentlemen, the religious importance of Ayodhya is not a hidden fact, and then there is its very unique way of life, a very varied destination for all knowledge seekers, I would say, and no better place to learn real life lessons there could be than Ayodhya, the birthplace of Lord Rama. Ayodhya has been attracting a large number of tourists from all over India and quite a few foreign countries as well, due to their religious affinity and love for Lord Rama, and some sort of a curiosity as well to learn about this destination, an ancient destination. Sadly, for many years, Ayodhya could not get its due place in the scheme of development. But in the year 2019, much before that, but specifically in the year 2019, the present state and the central government pressed the development button full throttle, fast-tracking the development of Ayodhya, and most of it, which is with the tourists and tourism in mind. The city of Ayodhya will soon come up with fantastic structures, including the glorious Ram Temple, coming up at the site of the birthplace of Lord Rama. Ayodhya, I think, is fast becoming a consequential religious tourist destination, and the government has already chartered a master plan for restructuring this ancient holy city, and hopefully without disturbing its innate character. The city is being developed as a major pilgrimage center, and the vision document prepared for its development includes grand gates leading to the city, inspired by the design of Rama Temple, Ramayana Spiritual Forest, Ramayana Spiritual Theme Park, And then there is this new international airport and the modernization of the railway station, bus terminals, and many, many more things, which of course will be talked in detail about by Mr. Anuj Jha, the district magistrate himself. Also coming up here are world-class five-star hotels and budget accommodation that will serve the cross-section of visitors, giving a major fillip to the tourism in Ayodhya. We also hear that many countries are establishing their temples, memorials, and religious embassies in Ayodhya. This apart from the Indian states having their own government guest houses to cater to their people and officials. At this, all this and more is a part of government of Uttar Pradesh plan to surpass, or call it a vision, to surpass the annual footfall of Mecca and Vatican in Ayodhya. And of course, to cater to this traffic, Ayodhya is being replanned, restructured, and readied. FICCI, of course, assures all its support to the government of Uttar Pradesh and to the Department of Tourism and Culture in realizing the dream of our able and visionary Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath to see Uttar Pradesh as the most developed state of India and make tourism a driver of growth. Ayodhya is one destination that fills the tourism industry with hope and confidence in these most difficult times. And above all, we ought to see Ayodhya as our government's seriousness about tourism and development. I'm happy to now begin this session with Mr. Anuj Kumar Jha, the district magistrate and the collector of Ayodhya. Mr. Anuj Kumar Jha, who is also an ex officio trustee of Sri Ram Janambhoomi Tirath Kshetra. Anuj is the man who is overseeing the remaking of Ayodhya in its new avatar. He's a 2009 batch IAS officer, and previous to this present posting as the district magistrate of Ayodhya, he has been posted in different positions in the states of Bulandshahr, Raebareli, Kannauj, Mahoba, Jhansi, Lucknow, and many more, among others. During his tenure, Ayodhya has been awarded the Scorch Award and the National Water Award, which in itself is a proof of his able administration of Ayodhya. Mr. Jha believes in hard work and propagates strongly that hard work stands out among many good qualities charting success. Of course, Mr. Anuj Jha is the man on the ground and the best informed officer to tell us all that's going on and all that's proposed in Ayodhya. So his inputs on Ayodhya are actually from the horse's mouth. I request you, Mr. Jha, to unmute your microphone and let us know all about the development work that are going in and around Ayodhya. Mr. Jha, please, over to you.
Thank you, Pratik ji, and good afternoon, everybody. Let me first give you a brief of what has happened in last couple of years. All of you are aware that on 9th of November 2019, Supreme Court decided in favor of Sri Ram Janambhoomi that there used to be a temple at the site, and again that temple has to be constructed. And the other parties, they were awarded 5 acres of land outside the city limits, and where they have been awarded the land on Lucknow Gorakhpur highway. And a long-standing dispute has finally been resolved. The biggest development that we all can talk of, I think that is the Sri Ram Janambhoomi temple itself, because that is the biggest attraction world over. And wherever in the whole world any Hindu Dharmavalambi is there, all of them will be keen to come to Ayodhya. And naturally, that makes Ayodhya a very attractive site on the whole world tourism map. Keeping that in mind, we had started working right from the start, uh, preparing plans and envisaging what is essential to be done in Ayodhya so that such a heavy tourist load can be accommodated. Recently, a few consultants were doing the estimating, and according to one estimates, Annually, 2 crore tourists are expected in Ayodhya in some time to come, maybe 10 years or so, at least 2 crore per year. And that can go up definitely, maybe up to 5 crore, 10 crore. So projections have been already done. And taking them into account, this planning has been done. Recently, the vision document of Ayodhya was presented before the Honorable Prime Minister. And he had a very good observation to make. And he called this whole vision plan as Vision Plan 2047, that when the country will be celebrating 100 years of India's freedom. So, what Ayodhya will be looking like, we should plan for that. And the administration, particularly the state government, Honorable CM, he has Ayodhya as a very high priority item on his agenda. He looks after it very keenly. He regularly reviews it and wants very rapid progress on that agenda. So just to uh, give you a bit of glimpses, you will appreciate that already whoever comes to Ayodhya, Ram Ki Pairi is already a very hit destination and everybody likes to go there. And the whole thing has been redone in last 2 3 years, and it is the site of famous Deeposatsav that has already become a brand in whole India, and maybe outsiders also know about it. So Ram Ki Pairi has already been done, as you know. The ghats of Ayodhya that used to be not that in great shape. So mostly all of them have been redone. Particularly if you want to have a look, you can go to Gottar Ghat, which is supposedly the abode of Lord Ram when he departed from Ayodhya. So that has been completely redone, and other ghats also like Lakshman Tila Ghat has been redone. And whoever has a look at these ghats, they are just come in itself. Since 9th November 2019, you see, it's less than 2 years, and long period has lost to COVID also, has been lost to COVID. But it is only, you see, the government's focus is so intense on Ayodhya, and the priority is so high. There's so many innumerable projects. At times I fail to enumerate how many of them are in pipeline. Just before the start of this session, I was trying to enumerate them. I will mention a few of them, but there are many more which may not be included in this list. But to name a few, the airport, international airport of Ayodhya, that is CM's priority, absolute top priority. We already have more than 90% of the land, and already tenders have been finalized by Airport Authority on this, and the uh, agencies for runway extension and the terminal building, boundary, etc. The agencies have reported to ground for work, and that has to start very soon. You will have to hear about the foundation laying ceremony very soon about it. The international airport, likely because lot of institutions, lot of commercial institutions also, they have an interest in Ayodhya, and everybody wants to have some kind of establishment in Ayodhya. So, taking that into account, the state government declared that a new township will be built here on the Vedic principles, and global consultants were appointed for that. Already that plan has been finalized, and we are in the process of land acquisition. The first phase of that township that will be established in around 600 acres, more than 350 acres we have already acquired, and soon the land acquisition process is going to complete for the phase one, and then the infrastructure works that have to be done in that township, that will be done. So that is also is gaining rapid progress now. 65-kilometer city bypass has already been sanctioned by NHAI, and its alignment has been finalized. Further progress is being made because the earlier bypass of the city, that used to be this national highway going from Lucknow to Gorakhpur, now that sits right in the middle of the city because the city limits have been extended. Earlier, before 2017, the city of Ayodhya was only a Nagar Palika, I mean the lesser municipal organization. In 2017, it was both Ayodhya and Fazabad put together. They were reclassified as Ayodhya, renamed as Ayodhya, and the whole thing was converted into a municipal corporation, which is a larger municipal body. After that, in 2019, the city limits of Ayodhya was further extended, including 41 villages of the on the city fringe. So now the city has grown to be a bigger city, and the earlier bypass, which used to go from one side of the city now sits right in the middle of the city. So in the times to come, we are expecting that there will be more pressure on this, and the city dwellers also will traverse through this road. So a new 65-kilometer bypass was planned, and that was referred to NHEI. And with the state government's pursuance, that has been finalized. It has been notified. The alignment has been finalized, and further progress for land acquisition, etc., that is being done now. Recently, you must have heard about it that the Chaurasi Kosi Parikrama. It's the largest parikrama. There are three parikramas in Ayodhya. The shortest one is five course. The middle one is 14 course, and the largest one is 84 course. 84 course is simply, something it comes close to 220 to 25 kilometers. That has also been now notified as a national highway, and this is kind of a new thing because earlier, where there was, all the national highways were uh, notified only when there was some state highway going through that area. But this 84 Kosi, the Chaurasi Kosi Parikrama, this was not a state highway. During some stretches, it was only, say, district roads. At some stretches, there was no road available. Even then, the whole project has been sanctioned and notified already. And now we are going to make progress on that count also. When you go to Ayodhya, because city is very old, so the lanes were narrow, and the access routes to Sri Ram Janmabhoomi temple was not that great because it used to be through the smaller, narrower routes. So that has been sanctioned. The four laning of Ayodhya Faizabad whole road and access routes through Sugriv Kila and through Hanuman. All of them have been sanctioned up to 24-meter width, and we have already completed land acquisition of one road. We are in the midst of the land acquisition process of the second road, and third road is at the consent level. So we are trying to complete all this before December this year, and then we can have them all constructed in the next year. So that is a good development. If you have visited the Ayodhya, you can relate to it immediately. Already, you see, the idea is that whoever wants to come to Ayodhya, they should have very free access, easy access to Ayodhya. So whether someone is coming through air, that is airport development, if somebody wants to come through like train, so a lot of focus is on the railway station development and the two laning of the tracks because there is a single track which runs through Ayodhya. So connecting through a two line railway network to say Lucknow and to Varanasi and to Gorakhpur. That is also in the pipeline, and the station has been completely redone on the model of the temple itself. A new terminal building has already come up there, and the number of platforms are also being increased there. So that is about the railways, and then I must tell you about the bus stand, newly built bus stand of 41 bays, which has just been inaugurated by Honorable President of India. That new bus stand has 41 bus bay, but already Honorable Chief Minister had instructed that this should be also extended to at least 200 bays of buses, and that will be like an ISBT. So for that also 9 acre further land has been transferred to Transport Corporation, and they are into DPR formation stage. The highways that are coming to Ayodhya, like Lucknow is a four lane. So there are other highways like road to Prayagraj is almost three-lane highway. Now the road that comes from Raebareli side, Jagdish Road. So the four laning of it has been sanctioned. All the land has been acquired, given to NHAI. Already work has started on four laning of this highway, and then another highway which comes from Varanasi side. So up to Baskhari, four laning of that has already been sanctioned. Fund has been transferred, and the work has already started on that. So all the highways coming to Ayodhya will be four lane at least. There is also talk of six laning of Lucknow highway that is in the pipeline. We may hear about it soon. Uh, there are six ROBs which are on the railway lines approaching Ayodhya, and they kind of constrict the traffic that goes to Ayodhya. So there are jams, and particularly during the season of like festive season, there are some traffic issues to this, and they are on main parikrama routes also. So all the six ROBs we had planned that we will get it like road overpass, not the crossing on the road. So all of them were, I mean, They were DPS were made and sent to the government. Railway has given consent for joint sharing of the costs, and state government has already done the EFC sanctioned all the six ROBs. So traffic to Ayodhya will be completely smooth on all these routes, and there will be no obstruction to parikrama on that count in the coming years. So that being that, I have already talked about new bus stand, and then railway station I have talked about. The survey for bullet train has already started, and it's not an announcement because there are people who can announce that, but already survey for the bullet train connectivity to Ayodhya has started, and you will get to hear about it in the future. So that is there. The river transport, yes, the only thing that was left was like what is the kind of water transport. So right now, already a few services on the river side also, like some cruise service, etc. That has been finalized, and in the times to come very soon. In fact, that is also going to be inaugurated on the lines of the work that was done in Varanasi. That is going to be done soon, and already Ayodhya district Ayodhya. That is also one step which was taken by this government. That already earlier this city was called Faizabad, and the district was Faizabad. Ayodhya was only a small municipality. Now the district headquarters is Ayodhya Nagar Nigam, yani ki Ayodhya Municipal Corporation, and the whole district has been renamed as Ayodhya. So district Ayodhya has already two universities. One is Awadh University, Ram Manohar Lohia Awadh University, and the other is Narendra Dev Agriculture University. Now a private sector university has also been announced by Maharshi Sanstha, and the theme of the university will be on Vedic and Ramayana studies. So that is also going to come soon. Deepotsav, which was organized by Tourism Department and Awadh Ram Manohar Lohia Awadh University in cooperation with the district administration, that has already become a brand, and many world records are in the name of Deepotsav. So that has been an annual attraction, and so that is there already happening. So every we are now again approaching that time period of the year in the first week of November when we will be again organizing that event. And uh, you see when the decision of the temple came, so you don't get to see immediately what is the planning and how it is coming to ground. A lot of groundwork is involved, which you don't get to see. Like the whole of Ayodhya never had any sewer lines. The water supply lines were limited to particular areas of the city, and remaining were uncovered. So now whole of Ayodhya, Faizabad, earlier municipality area, now they have been sanctioned all the areas like sewer lines have been sanctioned. 50% of that has been completed also, more than 50% of that. The water lines to the complete city has been sanctioned. Some of that has been done, others are in progress. And the storm water drainage was a big problem. So that has been now sanctioned by Nawami Gange. Close to 500 crore rupees have been sanctioned on earlier Fazabad, the municipality area, for taking care of its sewer lines and storm water problems. So these are the things which are like under the ground. You don't get to see what is happening. But if you are really looking for a world class city, these things need to be taken care of first, and that has been done at a tremendous pace in last 2 years. And there are bigger things also, still yet bigger things which are coming on, like river barrage on Saryu is being planned by irrigation department. Already they have taken on board Central Water Commission, who are trying to like what will be the location, what will be the cost. That is being worked out. And similarly, like the riverside development, a lot of ghats have already been made by the state government because uh, earlier ghats were not in good conditions. So they have been redone. Like I talked about Guptar Ghat, I talked about Lakshman Kila Ghat. But the whole facelift of the riverside development area, that has been also already planned, and that one plan also rests with the Swadesh Darshan department, and soon I think it is going to be sanctioned, and you will get to see a very grand facade of the whole riverside area of the Ayodhya. So these are only a few projects that I am mentioning, and lot more others are coming. Like some central government institutions are also coming, and they are establishing their educational institutions and other institutions, all we can think of. These only I have mentioned that relate to tourist facilities. Others are also there, so it is not possible to enumerate all of them in a short span of time. I am just trying to give a brief overview what is happening. Definitely, I can say that, see, Ram Janmabhoomi temple is the biggest attraction that is going to happen. But already you will find many beautiful temples in Ayodhya, and the ghats are beautiful. Ram Ki Peri is beautiful. The course of life already happening. So, and people of Ayodhya are very, you see, जो कहते हैं उत्सव धर्मी, मतलब उत्सव में यहाँ बहुत अच्छा लगता है सबको। तो बहुत सारे यहाँ पे उत्सव होते हैं, साल भर कोई ना कोई उत्सव चलता रहता है, और बहुत प्यार से लोगों की जो श्रद्धा है, अगर मैंने if I have said it so many times that had I not served in Ayodhya, I couldn't believe it. Only by staying here for last 2.5 years, I could now believe this, that the people of Ayodhya have a very steep, very deep regards in Lord Ram, and the city of Ayodhya itself, the river Saryu, people call Saryu Mata. So people have a very deep regard, very deep respect for the whole thing, and it is very natural for them. Like if I quote a figure, uh, you will be claiming it can't be true. Like on a single day of 14 कोस की परिक्रमा, close to 30 lakh people throng from nearby areas. Now this is the scenario when the temple has not yet truly come. So we can imagine what kind of situation it will be once the temple is done, once all these things are done. So it will be, I mean, amazing. All I can say is it's a very exciting time to be in Ayodhya, and we are seeing that phase which people will not be able to see, because once it is a finished product, you can't imagine what all has been done and how it has been done. So we are witnessing that, and we are lucky to be here in this time period. So all I can say is that whoever wants to have a look at Ayodhya and come to Ayodhya, invest in Ayodhya, I think this is going to be a great place, and all your queries and answers will be, queries and investments will be answered properly. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity at the start
Thank you,
itself.
Anuj. These were fabulous points, and this is actually the roadmap. If we really have to beat the figures, the footfall figures of Mecca and Vatican, this is the right way. That, and your idea about the bullet train coming from your mouth means that there is some sort of a news which is on, and there's some sort of a fact in it. So we are already very, very excited about it. Thank you for being on this panel, and thank you for your inputs, which straight come from the horse's mouth, as I said. Thank you very much, Anuj, for your inputs. And I'm very happy to announce that we have been joined by our very own Honorable Minister of Tourism, Culture, Religious Affairs and Protocol, Dr. Neelkant Tiwari, and our Principal Secretary and Culture, Mr. Mukesh Meishram, under whose guidance this series is being initiated. And they were there in the opening of this series in July, and again today at the end of this series, they are again with us, and we are really blessed. And welcome to both of you, Dr. Tiwari and Mr. Mukesh Meishram. So we will of course come to you later, because all important things we want to keep for later time. But continuing with this webinar for today, I am now I call upon Professor Manoj Dixit, who's the former Vice Chancellor of Dr. RML Awadh University, Ayodhya. He has been an innovator and a designer of events that have helped in destination branding, Divya Deepotsav being the best example. This event has put Ayodhya on the world map and has won the Awadh University 2 entries in the Guinness Book of World Records. Professor Manoj Dixit's PhD is in tourism. His core subject has been public administration otherwise, and he has been engaged in teaching, training, and research in tourism. He has already produced 8 PhDs under his supervision. He has also many books to his credit. Most of these are on tourism and public administration. He also happens to be an adjunct professor and researcher in the School of Political Science and Public Administration, Chengdu University of China. And Professor Manoj Dixit is widely traveled person and has delivered lectures in many countries. He has been bestowed by many awards for his contribution to the society, including the UP Ratna Award, Distinguished Fellow Award from the International Academy of Business, Washington, Kabir Shanti Award, Gaurav Samman, and many others that have recognized his work. Professor Manoj Dixit, of course, you are a person with the knowledge of all that is going on in Ayodhya. And I would say, even before it all started in Ayodhya, may I now request for your views about Ayodhya development, and which tourism model basically suits Ayodhya the best, as you have seen and understood Ayodhya very closely. Over to you, Professor Dixit.
Thank you, Prateek. Although as a personal choice, I would love to speak in my language, but given the kind of international audience that you have collected on this platform, I will go about in the language that you spoke. Honorable Minister Dr. Neelkant Tiwari ji, the Principal Secretary Tourism Mukesh Meishram ji, Anuj ji has, I think, left, and the participants from all over the world. We do not claim, I personally do not claim anything that I have done is worthwhile. But making an effort and helping systems achieve something is something that one can always wish to cherish about. I remember 2014 when FICCI under Jhunjhunwala ji, you, me, and like-minded people started thinking in terms of making Ayodhya tourism ready. In 2014, there was not even a trace of Rama Temple becoming a reality in near future, given the kind of government that we had at that time. I also remember that then we pitched in for Ayodhya. We wanted, and what we did a survey was what is lacking about Ayodhya for being tourism ready. I'm just not concentrating on Ayodhya of today. It is in good hands now, and we have a lot of vision plan and a lot of activities going around. I'm just taking you to the back doors or the backdrop that we were creating at that time. We realized that there was a absolute dearth of literature available on Ayodhya. There was hardly anything available on Ayodhya with regard to tourism. We had some books which were mentioning about the Ram Janmabhoomi and its history, and the kind of efforts that have been made by people of Ayodhya and around for making or liberating Ram Janmabhoomi, and that was all about Ayodhya that was available. None of the tourism literature around the world had mention of Ayodhya except for a passing remark about Ayodhya in a Lonely Planet which was describing Lucknow. So because of efforts of Tornos and Lonely Planet people, when we started organizing Ganga Dasera Mahotsav on the Ghats of Saryu from 2014-15, we were able to get a chapter on Ayodhya in Lonely Planet, which you remember your efforts, and I remember the way we organized it. And finally, a chapter on Ayodhya was there in Lonely Planet, making it available to the global audience or global travelers or the global travel agents and tour operators who were willing to know something about it. I also remember that Tornos was the first agency to have organized foreign tourists to Ayodhya after curating a heritage walk. That heritage walk itself took about 1 year to fructify, to come into a shape. Ayodhya Mokshadaini heritage walk was created and successfully run much before the present government came into existence. I also remember when I say we, Tornos was one of the agencies we doing the business for Ayodhya. And of course, now they have, I have learned that they have claimed to have first official travel agency operating out of Ayodhya. And we created, after Mokshadaini Yatra, we created some more events of that sort. We created a proposal for Ram Rajya Abhishek, if I'm not mistaken, Prateek will correct me, that we created a PPT which you presented before the earlier chief minister in his first year in office. It was appreciated, but not implemented. We kept on doing that, and it was on the hard rocks. Fortunately, Yogi ji came, then Nilkant ji came, and the things started rolling. And Bhavya Deepotsav became a reality before our lives. We were absolutely disappointed before 2017 that it will ever happen or not. It was a coincidence that I also happened to be in Ayodhya at that time and see the events taking shape. And I was very fortunate to have seen in the same scene that the various activity with regard to the temple construction or liberation of the temple started. My university was very fortunate to have the exercise, like the mediation took place within the campus. It was very lucky for us to have met a lot of people. Things started rolling. Now, infrastructure-wise, I have seen this, the beautiful plan that has been made by the Ayodhya people, the Development Authority administration, and approved and appreciated by the UP government, and also seen by the Prime Minister himself. The entire redevelopment plan of Ayodhya is in shape. So I will not even touch that. That is in the safe hands. I think the kind of infrastructure that is coming up, the kind of roads that are coming up, that are the kind of facilities that we've been envisaged are fantastic, and to match with anything which is best of the quality in the world. My concerns are only about being tourism ready. I confine myself to the topic of being tourism ready. A tourism destination as unique as Ayodhya, and also has some limitations which have to be removed with the efforts of both private sector as well as the public sector, the government sector. Limitations, when I talk limitations, is that the uniqueness is, I think it is available everywhere. Now the literature on Ayodhya is full. There is no shortage of literature on Ayodhya. The uniqueness, the beauty, the geographical beauty, the anthropological beauty, it's being one of the oldest cities in the world, the Adipuri and everything, that is intact. Now let me talk about the brief ideas as to how tourism will take shape. Lucknow doesn't have, Ayodhya doesn't have the advantage of being Chandigarh, being 300 kilometers from Delhi. It has a disadvantage of being located right in between two mega cities, both of which are coming up very fast and very well, Lucknow and Gorakhpur. So it has a limitation. We have to think and devise a plan in the sense that the tourism becomes a reality of the sorts and it benefits the local economy. The local economy or tourism economies, as we understand, as we all know, tourism sector per se is 80 to 90% private. It is in the private hands only. 10 to 20% is the government facilitations which provide these private sector people to come and do the business and being regulated by the government. That is the limited role that the government has to play. And that is something that has to take shape. My concerns are only with regard to these, delimiting these limitations. Ayodhya is going to be a destination, I tell you, a destination which we people will love to remember. With air connectivity coming, with the road transport, as we have planned, 6-lane to 4-lane minimum, and with train connectivity coming up. Now Anuja talked about a possibility of having a bullet train as well. So the connectivity issue will be, almost solved with regard to Ayodhya in next 5 to 10 years. Or as the Prime Minister himself puts another yardsticks, that by 2047, what will be Ayodhya like? So by 2017, Ayodhya should be a destination which will be remembered and which should become a center of attraction and distribute tourism from here to other cities. So long as it continues to get tourists from other cities, it will remain an intermediate destination. So we have to consider that, number one. Number two, I'm very happy that something that we cherished earlier is now being realized by both parties. Both the university has come out with the tourist guide program, I think which FICCI and Tornos both were partners, and state government has also started creating guides. always my concerns have been that there have to be three kinds of guides, which with the state mandate behind a guide is a mandatory mandate that must be there. Otherwise, what will happen, which happens in Agra, we have regional guides operating, state level guides without having a stamp, and of course the lapkas who master everybody. So we don't have to have that. Ayodhya does not need anything which is not Ram ordained. It has to be on the principle of Lord Rama. So mandatory spot guides, local guides, as well as regional guides need to be prepared in and around Ayodhya. We have capable institutions around that, and you can always, of course, you can join hands. You can prepare better guides with the state initiative. And you can give all the inputs that you need a guide to be in, so that the guides are authentic, represent Ayodhya by heart. There is a problem in this sector, in the private sector, as you know, in the guiding sector particularly, that it is swamped by the people from outside. And then they distort the history. This has happened in Agra. So we don't want that to happen. It did not happen because we prepared, remember, we prepared a Buddhist guide, we prepared guides for Lucknow, because we wanted authentic guides to operate in these areas. And those authentic guides, we are better prepared by the people who are right there. And second issue that I wish to discuss about is the connectivity issue, or in the network issue. Centrally located place like Ayodhya need to be networked with other destinations, so that people who want to visit anywhere come to Ayodhya without any hassles. And those operators are always there. The Transport Operators Association of India, the Indian Association of Tour Operators, the Travel Agent Association of India, they can all be hooked in to come with the process of preparing a plan for the nearby 100 to 200 kilometer destinations, so that Ayodhya can be linked with all of them in a hub-and-spoke kind of a concept, so that anybody who comes with any other motive, whether it comes from wildlife tourism, or he comes from Buddhist tourism, or whether it comes from Jain tourism, he comes to Ayodhya and sees that the magnificence of Ayodhya taking shape at the moment, and then of course magnificent Ayodhya when it takes shape. So these are, and third point, honorable ministers, are for your concern, for your consumption, is that the earlier governments have planned a very good concept which should be kept in mind, and that will help us. It was the golden arc, Agra, Lucknow, and Ayodhya. Agra, Lucknow, Banaras. These were the three linked, main linked places, and then the satellites of each of them. So each one of these satellites can be very good connected. Rajasthan got their palace on wheels. Rajasthan got their royal chariot. Rajasthan got their special trains. They manage it very well so that the connectivity is not there. We have not yet been able to get connected with Agra by train, by a comfortable train. Now we are, of course, this government is doing the very good effort to connect. Of course, Agra-Lucknow expressway is complete, but Lucknow, Banaras, and Lucknow, Gorakhpur, and Lucknow and other places need to be connected with the equally fast highways. Secondly, a good, nice tourist trains need to connect these destinations with, if possible, with the Royal Chariot kind of a train, or maybe a Shatabdi kind of a train, or maybe a Tejas kind of a train, which is running on private sector participation. Either of them can be looked in and introduced. Government of Uttar Pradesh has recently introduced, I think, a transparent train for Dudhwa and other areas. That's a magnificent idea. Similar ideas can be exhibited in and around these places. Final point that I would love to have is the local involvement in improving local economy with regard to the local tourism market. That is something that, if required, should be done with law. We have a lot of 5-star and 6-star and 7-stars and hotels are coming, and they will all purchase things from outside, doing a leakage to the concept. Ayodhya will not be benefited, the people of Ayodhya will not be benefited if the consumption items are not procured from the local market. And that is something that must be mandated. That all the hotels opening in the set, They have to have their vegetables purchased from there, or at least 50% of them, which are consumed, need to be purchased. All the items that they use need to be purchased locally. All the hotels should have a kind of a small museum or shopping kind of a thing, which should sell the local souvenir. This is something that is very, very important for local people. Local dance and local music should be promoted in a manner that every hotel has got a place where these items take place. Farwahi can take place in a small area, there's no problem. I saw China in 2005, 2007, 2010, and 2015, and they did it in a very systematic manner that the masked dance that used to take place only at one place in entire Chengdu is now taking place in 100 hotels around in Chengdu. All of them have got jobs. The local culture has survived. The local industries have survived. The local people have survived with their own value systems, not to change to other values. I don't want something to happen to Mussoorie or Nainital. It happened, it changed, because people from outside came, did their business, went back, and exploited the local markets. That should not happen. That will be my idea of Ayodhya. And I'm sure, finally, I will request Honorable Minister Sahab to maybe call one small travel writers conference also on Ayodhya, focusing on Ayodhya. And that travel writers conference will be a milestone for writings about Ayodhya, and that will change the scenario globally. I tell you, I can promise you. This has happened to every place where we held a travel conference. Lucknow was not known when we held travel conference there. You remember when BJP government was there, earlier BJP government, and Shima Rizvi was the minister. We did that travel writers conference, and that changed everything. Today, there is a need to have a travel writers conference in Ayodhya, and then that will force people, global travel writers conference, that will force people to know Ayodhya intimately, know Ayodhya beyond only the temple, know Ayodhya intimately, as Anuj was saying, that unless you live there, you don't know. You have to feel about there. And that conference probably will take shape soon to change the perspective. And finally, the universities around Ayodhya should be asked to create literature, the value-based literature on each and every temple of Ayodhya. And that should be available to us. We can help. I mean, the private sector can help. We can all rope in to get it published. But first is the compilation and writing of those value-based books on each and every temple of Ayodhya. I can promise you, every temple of Ayodhya is worth doing a PhD. I have got 5 PhDs with me, which have been done on the different temples of Ayodhya. So it is that way, the reinterpretation of the right interpretation of temples in Ayodhya should be done. And that will help us create a literature. And finally, a virtual museum, which I dreamt has to be true. With Minister Saab is so proactive. आपके आशीर्वाद से वो वर्चुअल म्यूजियम भी मुझे लगता है कि बहुत जल्दी ही अयोध्या में मिलेगा. जिस तरह का गीता म्यूजियम कुरुक्षेत्र में बना हुआ है, उसी प्रकार का एक भव्य म्यूजियम अयोध्या में भी क्रिएट होगा. That will give a feeling. अब तो 5G टेक्नोलॉजी आ चुकी हैं और dimensions 3D, 4G, 5G dimensions आ गए हैं. We can have a wonderful feeling based museum somewhere in Ayodhya that will give us a complete holistic feeling of being there in Ayodhya and feeling lucky. Thank you very much. I can speak on Ayodhya for days, doesn't matter. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Ayodhya is tourism ready. All of us have to pull in our efforts to see that it happens before us. Thank you very much, Minister Saab. Thank you very much, Secretary Saab, and thank you very much, Prateek, for giving me and inviting me in time. I'm right now in Pink City to see, to watch this particular event unfolding in Lucknow, and I can share my experiences of Pink City also changing the way it has, and I'm 200% sure Ayodhya will take shape. In next 5 years, it will be like a changed city, a mega city, a beautiful spiritual city that we are thinking of, and a model for the rest of the world to follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dikshit. I think the takeaway here is vocal for local. which you have stressed upon, and I very much support you. And such great memories. I remember 2014, you were the one who instigated, coaxed, or let me put it more decently, inspired me to go to Ayodhya and try out something. And since then, I personally have fallen in love with Ayodhya and have been working in terms of business and for personal things. And even when I have my guests from abroad, I make it a point that they should visit Ayodhya. So there's something about Ayodhya, the air of Ayodhya is such, probably, I would put it in that manner. And connectivity, yes, connectivity is a huge problem, not only by air, of course, because Lucknow and Gorakhpur, as you rightly mentioned, have been very well connected now by air. But of course, the train connection to Ayodhya is also a major issue, because we get a lot of queries from places like Gujarat and West Bengal who are budget travelers and may not be able to travel to other destinations. But there are two destinations which they always, and from South India as well. One is Ayodhya, of course, which is much more in limelight than it ever was, or than it ever could be. And the other is Naimisharanya, on which we need to see, because this is a pair of two places which people from the South India specifically want to visit and understand. So we can pair these two destinations very effectively. So thank you, Professor Manoj Dixit, for being with us and sharing the points. And now I'm so very privileged to be introducing you to Mr. Mukesh Kumar Meishram, who's the Principal Secretary, Tourism and Culture, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Meishram holds a master's degree in public administration. So we had Anuj, who had public administration, and Professor Manoj Dixit, public administration. And again, we have Mr. Meishram from public administration. That's why UP is being managed so well, because there are so many people who have studied and read public administration. So he has a degree from the University of Birmingham and Masters of Architecture degree from the IIT Roorkee. He has a global exposure and has been working on in different administrative positions as an IS officer of 1995 batch. That too in the most populous state of Uttar Pradesh. So we are very lucky that we are being led by him in tourism. Presently, he is overseeing some very ambitious projects that include the reshaping of Varanasi in its new avatar, Ayodhya as India's newest tourist destination, and very, very recently, he has taken up the project for the Vindhyachal development. I must add here, by my experience of working with him quite closely, that Mr. Meishram has an open door policy for the industry to walk in and discuss projects of development and growth of Uttar Pradesh. He is a very receptive officer, I would say, who's always ready to listen to the industry and works in a very inclusive manner for the betterment of a state. May I now request Mr. Meishram to you to kindly unmute your mic and address us.
Thank you very much, Pratik ji. First of all, I would like to welcome our Honorable Minister of Tourism, Shri Nilkant Tiwari ji, who has graced this webinar. In the sequence of webinars which we have been organizing for last a few weeks, this is the last webinar, but we will continue with some other topics and other ideas, certainly. So as Ayodhya, or for that purpose specifically, if we go by the tourism potential in Uttar Pradesh, this state has recently bagged promising spiritual state by this travel and tourism fair. And in fact, when we recently organized an interaction with the consulate at Johannesburg, South Africa, the people abroad who are from Indian origin, they are very keen to visit all these spiritual destinations, particularly Ayodhya or the spiritual destinations of Uttar Pradesh, because they find that they have very, very origin or the basics or the root lies in our state, which is missing because now there is a long gap of generations, long gap of time, and since they are still preserving and conserving the ideas or spiritual ideas, cultural ideas and elements with them in those countries, they want to basically come and visit our state for that purpose. Uh, in the past 4 years, the government under the able leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister has developed many tourist destinations. In fact, more than 800 tourist destinations where projects are coming up, where we are developing tourist infrastructure facilities. And after some time, all these destinations will become very much tourist friendly. We will have all kind of basic amenities and facilities available which are needed for tourists. Then, in fact, our minister has instructed the working agencies that all these projects should be completed by the end of November this year itself, so that we can at least go in the public with our list of destinations which we have developed, and simultaneously we can basically market and brand our destinations internationally, globally, that we are already ready to invite and welcome the tourists from domestic parts or various parts of the country as well as from abroad. So that way, as Mr. Professor Manoj Dikshit recently mentioned, that other places should also be connected with the expressway. Already the work is going on, and I think in a month or so, we will directly connect, because from Noida, Taj Expressway has connected to Agra. From Agra to Lucknow, we have already connected by Agra Expressway. And from Lucknow, now we are in the process of developing Purvanchal Expressway. So in coming months, we will have Purvanchal Expressway, we will have this Ganga Expressway, we will have Bundelkhand Expressway, we will have Gorakhpur Link Expressway, and of course, apart from these expressway for speedy transportation modes, we will have international airports also coming up at Ayodhya. Already Kushinagar International Airport has is ready to receive the tourists as well as passengers. Trial is going on. Then Shravasti also for chartered planes, we have already made it ready. Then we have also developed tourist-friendly infrastructure where elderly or disabled or other people also can reach to the places where a lot of visitors visit annually or monthly, like ropeway project at Ashtapuja and Kaliko in Mirzapur, because that was the real challenge, how the elderly people or other people will visit all these places. But after the construction of ropeway, it has become very easy to reach to all these places. Same way in Chitrakut also we have developed ropeway, and there is one ropeway construction going on in Mathura region. So soon that will be also available for the use. We have also started cruise facilities from Varanasi, one-day trip to Chunar. Recently, it has been started uh, through PPP mode, and it got very good response. In fact, people are ready to visit these places. They will have different kind of experience. Uh, in coming months, we are planning it to take it to Sangam. So via Chunar, we will take it to Prayagraj and then it will come back to Varanasi. We have also developed heliports for intra-state transportation or better air uh, transportation facility. Uh, Already heliports are ready at Mathura, Agra, then Lucknow. And there are two in the pipeline at Prayagraj and Varanasi. Soon, through PPP model, these heliports will be operational for public, and those who can afford and those who can want to use these facilities, they can avail these facilities. So as far as infrastructure facility is concerned, we are already ready. In fact, during this COVID period, when tourism industry, hospitality sector, and aviation sector came to standstill mode, we did not stop. In fact, we worked with full swing. We worked to develop facilities, we worked to develop infrastructure so that immediately after this period or post-COVID situation, we could be able to welcome the tourists in big number, because already people are fed up with these lockdowns or being in enclosures. They would certainly go out to have new experiences, to visit all these places, and ecotourism sites are also being developed in a big way. There is already a proposal to form UP State Ecotourism Board, and our UP Tourism Policy 2018, it provides certain fiscal and non-fiscal incentives for the private players who want to set up good facilities, want to set up budget hotels or even resorts or wellness centers in the state. They will get incentives, and for that also we are very much hopeful that in coming months we'll get more and more proposals, and private people we can rope in for that facility. So with these words, again, I would like to thank the FICCI officials who are continuously supporting this webinar, and particularly Mr. Prateek Hira, who is anchor as well as Sutradhar for this whole concept and program. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Meishram. Fabulous work is being done, no doubt, in Uttar Pradesh, and a lot more than actually we know about. So from this platform, let me promise you all the support to the government of Uttar Pradesh and the Department of Tourism in particular from FICCI, which is not only industry's voice, but also a partner of the government. We pledge to facilitate growth and development in Uttar Pradesh. In this endeavor, I am also happy to inform you all that FICCI's Uttar Pradesh Travel Mart held here has been a thorough success internationally. We would rather urge the Honorable Minister, because we have got a chance to have Honorable Minister and the Principal Secretary both on the same platform today, to revive this as a roadmap for an early recovery of tourism in UP. We at FICCI would also like to propose an exclusive tourism investment summit of Uttar Pradesh to bring in meaningful investments in tourism sector and showcase the state, as Professor Manoj Dixit also said about the Travel Writers Conclave and the Tourism Investment Summit, to showcase renewed Varanasi, Ayodhya, Gorakhpur, Kushinagar and Vindhyachal, which is beyond imagination of people who have not been to these places recently. It is actually time we showcase UP as a fresh and renewed destination to the world by organizing UP Travel Mart and Tourism Investors Conclave in physical form, which unfortunately could not be held last year and even this year due to the pandemic. So after this 2-year gap, we need to go back to people and tell them that how ready we are and how better we have made everything in UP within this period of lull that we have. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely honored now to be introducing you to the most awaited speaker, our chief guest of this last session of the webinar, which has started in July, on the 20th of July, being precise, being tourism ready. Dr. Neelkant Tiwari, who's the Minister of Tourism, Culture, Religious Affairs and Protocol, Government of Uttar Pradesh. Dr. Tiwari is the member of Legislative Assembly from Varanasi, which is our Honorable Prime Minister's parliamentary constituency. And this makes his position not only most important, but actually very, very demanding. And he has proved it all through all his good work in this government. Needless to say, that he's a man who's directly seeing the renewal of Varanasi, and it is under him that Varanasi is emerging as one fine example of urban planning for tourism in an ancient city. And then the Varanasi model is being followed in Ayodhya and similarly now in Vindhyachal as well. So thank you, Dr. Tiwari, for giving us such examples. Dr. Tiwari has a huge list of achievements otherwise. He has been the youngest president of the Central Bar Association and is the state convener of the legal cell of Uttar Pradesh. Dr. Tiwari has a very clean image as a politician and as a member of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And because of that clean image, BJP has given him the responsibility of being the vice president of BJP's Kashi cell. Dr. Neelkant Tiwari holds a PhD in integral humanism and social engineering. We are so very privileged and honored that Dr. Tiwari inaugurated this mega webinar series in July, and today on the auspicious occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi, he is again with us. So may I request you, Dr. Tiwari, for your address, please.
धन्यवाद प्रतीक जी। इस वेबिनार में उपस्थित मुकेश जी, मनोज दीक्षित जी, अन्य जुड़े हुए सभी महानुभाव, आज के वेबिनार का आप लोगों ने टॉपिक दिया है अयोध्या इंडियाज न्यूएस्ट टूरिज्म डेस्टिनेशन। अयोध्या अपनी दिव्यता को हमेशा अपने साथ रखा था। अयोध्या की दिव्यता उसके अंदर समाहित थी। निश्चित तौर पर भव्यता के साथ छेड़छाड़ हुई, कुछ आक्रमणों के कारण छेड़छाड़ हुआ, जिसके लिए अयोध्या के प्रति भाव रखने वाले लोगों ने लगातार संघर्ष किया। 400-500 वर्षों तक संघर्ष करते रहे। स्वतंत्रता के बाद भारत में थोड़ी लापरवाही हुई, जिसके कारण अयोध्या की भव्यता उस रूप में नहीं आ पाई। लेकिन अब ऐसा नहीं है। अयोध्या के दिव्य स्वरूप को भव्यता के ओर लेकर के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की प्रेरणा और मार्गदर्शन में उत्तर प्रदेश की आदरणीय योगी जी की सरकार आगे बढ़ चुकी है। अयोध्या में भव्य राम मंदिर का निर्माण प्रारंभ हो चुका है। प्रभु श्री राम के प्रति करोड़ों करोड़ों लोग विभिन्न प्रकार की आस्था रखते हैं। कोई अपने आराध्य पुरुष के रूप में, आराध्य के रूप में, कोई भारत की सांस्कृतिक पहचान, भारतीय संस्कृति के केंद्र के रूप में, कोई रामराज की परिकल्पना देकर के रामराज को स्थापित करने का भाव लेने रखने वाले प्रभु श्री राम के प्रति इस भाव से, कोई सखा भाव से, कोई मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम के भाव से, कोई आदर्श एक मानवीय जो आचार संहिता होती है उस आचार संहिता के पालन करता के विभिन्न रूपों में भाव लेकर के पूरे विश्व में करोड़ों करोड़ लोग ऐसे हैं जो प्रभु श्री राम के प्रति आस्था रखते हैं। प्रत्येक व्यक्ति ऐसा जो जिस भाव से भी आस्था रखता हो या रखता है वह अयोध्या जाना चाहता ही है, एक बार कम से कम जीवन में अपने जाना चाहता ही है। लेकिन भव्यता के कमी के कारण या कुछ अलग प्रकार की चर्चा के कारण लोग नहीं आते थे। आज स्थिति नहीं है। राम मंदिर के निर्माण के साथ ही वहां पर दर्शनार्थियों, जैसा अनुज ने बताया, दर्शनार्थियों की संख्या लगातार बढ़ती जा रही है। 2017 में जब माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में दीपोत्सव को प्रारंभ किया गया, हम लोग गए थे। क्योंकि 2017 से ही दीपोत्सव से लगातार मैं जुड़ा रहा। उस समय स्थिति बड़ी ही खराब थी। अयोध्या धाम में सड़कें, गलियां, सीवर की व्यवस्था, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, जो भी चीजें थी बड़ी खराब स्थिति में थी। लेकिन 2017 में दीपोत्सव के साथ ही इन सभी चीजों का पुनर्निर्माण प्रारंभ हो गया। सुधार कार्य, नवनिर्माण, सुंदरीकरण, अलग अलग प्रकार के कार्यों को 2017 से लेकर के आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार चल पड़ी। जब 2018 में दीपोत्सव किया गया तो वह दीपोत्सव गिनीज बुक ऑफ वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड में अपना एक साथ दीपक जलाने का रिकॉर्ड दर्ज कराया। लेकिन वो गति जो विकास की थी उसको लगातार योगी जी के नेतृत्व में कायम रखा गया। पुनः 2019 में जब दीपोत्सव हुआ तो अपने ही रिकॉर्ड को तोड़ करके एक नया रिकॉर्ड पुनः बना। और 2020 में भी वही हुआ कि अपने रिकॉर्ड को तोड़ करके आगे हम बढ़े और एक नया रिकॉर्ड, एक नया कीर्तिमान स्थापित किए। और इस बार माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी का जो लक्ष्य है, जो भाव है कि पुनः अयोध्या के दीपोत्सव को एक नया वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड के साथ हम जोड़ेंगे, अपने ही पुराने रिकॉर्ड को तोड़ करके। इन सभी चीजों को देखते हुए आगे जब आप सोचेंगे कनेक्टिविटी के माध्यम से, तो बहुत कम ट्रेनें वहां जाती थी। लेकिन माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के मार्गदर्शन में अब वहां पर ट्रेनों का आवागमन काफी बढ़ गया है। अयोध्या धाम स्टेशन को सुंदर और एक विश्वस्तरीय स्टेशन बनाने की परिकल्पना पर काम चल पड़ा है। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय एयरपोर्ट का निर्माण कार्य प्रारंभ हो चुका है। जमीन अधिग्रहण का कार्य लगभग पूर्ण हो चुका है। अन्य भी जो प्रक्रियात्मक चीजें हैं आगे बढ़ चुकी है। इस बीच में अयोध्या धाम को 2017 के बाद ही नगर निगम भी घोषित किया जा चुका है। हर चीज को, हर विषय को लेकर के अलग अलग योजनाएं उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार ने बनाई। इसी बीच जब राम मंदिर का शिलान्यास हुआ उसके बाद से माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का यह भाव है कि विश्व की सुंदरतम नगरी अयोध्या बने, जो सबसे सुंदर नगर विश्व के हों उससे भी सुंदर अयोध्या नगरी बने, जो युगानुकूल हो और देशानुकूल। हमारी संस्कृति, हमारे कल्चर को अपने बीच में रखते हुए आधुनिक टेक्नोलॉजी, आधुनिकता के साथ उसको जोड़ करके एक ऐसी अयोध्या का निर्माण किया जाए जो पूरे विश्व की सबसे सुंदर नगरी के रूप में बने। इस काम को लेकर के हमारे पर्यटन विभाग के लोग, आवास विभाग के लोग, पीडब्ल्यूडी, बिजली, अन्य सभी विभागों के लोग मिलकर के इस पर लगातार काम कर रहे हैं। विजन डॉक्यूमेंट भी अयोध्या का तैयार हो गया है और फेज वाइज उसके इंप्लीमेंटेशन का भी कार्यक्रम ले लिया गया है। अयोध्या के जितने भी चौराहे हैं उन चौराहों को भी लेकर के हमारा पर्यटन विभाग एक अलग प्रकार का कंसेप्ट लेकर के आगे बढ़ रहा है कि ताकि सभी चौराहे जो उसके आध्यात्मिक और सांस्कृतिक के पक्ष हैं उस पक्ष से जोड़ते हुए अलग अलग नामों से चौराहों का सुंदरीकरण एक विशेष तरीके का उसका कार्य, उसको लेकर के हम लोग आगे बढ़ चुके हैं। तैयारी यहां तक हो चुकी है, क्योंकि कोरोना काल में मुकेश जी ने बताया कि हम लोगों की गति रुकी नहीं पर्यटन विभाग की। मैं धन्यवाद दूंगा पर्यटन विभाग के सभी अधिकारियों को कि सभी लोगों ने मिलकर के और एक अद्भुत कार्य योजना के तहत पूरे प्रदेश में पर्यटन के कार्यों को किया और अयोध्या में विशेष तौर पर इस कोरोना काल में ही हमारे यहाँ अयोध्या धाम से संबंधित आध्यात्मिक पक्ष के टूरिस्ट गाइड का प्रशिक्षण भी पूर्ण हो चुका है और ये बड़ी अच्छी संख्या में टूरिस्ट गाइडों का हम लोगों ने एक प्रशिक्षण दिया हुआ है। यह भी एक अनोखी बात है जो कि एक कोरोना काल में इसको हमने पूरा किया। ब्रांडिंग को लेकर के अयोध्या को जो भी ब्रांडिंग की जरूरत नहीं, जैसा मैंने पहले भी कहा, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी आधुनिकता के साथ देशानुकूल, युगानुकूल ब्रांडिंग हो, इस भाव को लेकर के भी पर्यटन विभाग और अन्य विभाग उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार के माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी के मार्गदर्शन में इसको लेकर के चल रहे हैं। वर्चुअल म्यूजियम की जो बात कही उसको लेकर के कई हम लोग बहुत आगे बढ़ चुके हैं और अभी मनोज जी ने जो कहा उसको भी लेकर के हम लोगों ने बहुत हॉट फीलिंग कह लीजिए, एक म्यूजियम का हम लोग निर्माण करने जा रहे हैं जो कि बहुत बड़े एरिया में उसका एक प्रपोजल लगभग तैयार हो चुका है, उसके प्रस्तुतिकरण भी हो चुके हैं और उस पर काम भी आगे बढ़ चुका है। डिजिटल म्यूजियम या अन्य भी जो अयोध्या धाम से संबंधित जो तथ्य हैं उसको लेकर के म्यूजियम बन चुके हैं या बनने की प्रक्रिया में है, इसको लेकर के हम लोग आगे बढ़ चुके हैं। रिवर फ्रंट, एक बहुत बड़ा रिवर फ्रंट की योजना पर भी काम पर्यटन विभाग के द्वारा आगे बढ़ाया जा चुका है। यह सब तो केवल अयोध्या की बात किया, जो कि यदि वर्णन किया जाए तो घंटों में करीब 150 से ज्यादा इस समय पर्यटन स्थलों पर काम या तो प्रारंभ हो चुके हैं, या तो पूर्ण हो चुके हैं, या तो प्रक्रिया में, यह भी लेकर के एक हम लोग आगे बढ़ चुके हैं। अयोध्या धाम आने वाले दिनों में विश्व का सबसे सुंदर नगर बने, इस भाव को लेकर के हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। उत्तर प्रदेश में भी पर्यटन की प्रारंभ से ही असीम संभावनाएं थी, लेकिन इस पर शायद कहीं से उस तरीके से काम नहीं हो सका। लेकिन आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के मार्गदर्शन में अब उत्तर प्रदेश पर्यटन के दृष्टिकोण से अपना एक अलग स्थान बना चुका है। आज डोमेस्टिक टूरिस्ट के लिए फर्स्ट डेस्टिनेशन यूपी हो चुका है। विदेशी पर्यटकों को भी फर्स्ट डेस्टिनेशन के रूप में हमने लगभग उससे गोल को अचीव कर लिया है। हमारे यहाँ विंध्य धाम हो, बाबा विश्वनाथ धाम हो, अद्भुत माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के प्रेरणा और मार्गदर्शन में काशी में विश्वनाथ धाम का जो काम चल रहा है अपने आप में अद्भुत है। ऐसा नहीं कि उस विश्वनाथ धाम के कार्यों पर किसी की दृष्टि नहीं गई। 1916 में जब बापू काशी यात्रा पर गए थे, काशी हिंदू विश्वविद्यालय के उद्घाटन के कार्यक्रम में, उस समय उन्होंने कहा था कि इसका यह काम होना चाहिए। अब बहुत ही अलग प्रकार का उन्होंने उस पर टिप्पणी भी की थी, लेकिन 1916 से आज तक किसी ने पढ़ा नहीं। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने पढ़ा और पढ़ करके उस पर आगे काम बढ़ाया। आप सभी लोगों से जो इससे जुड़े हुए हैं, फिक्की के लोग, आपसे मैं आग्रह करूंगा, उत्तर प्रदेश में अब व्यापार व्यवसाय भी बहुत आसान हो गया है। अब कोई न तो माफिया है, न तो गुंडा है, न तो अपराधी है, और न ही कोई अपराधी किसी व्यापारी पर नजर उठा करके देख सकता है, किसी बिजनेसमैन पर, किसी उद्योगपति पर नजर नहीं उठा सकता। बदल चुकी है उत्तर प्रदेश की व्यवस्था माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में। सबसे मेरा आग्रह है, आइए, दिल खोल करके आइए, सिंगल विंडो सिस्टम में आइए। हर प्रकार की सुविधाएं यहां पर आपको उपलब्ध हैं, और हमारे पर्यटन का जो कंसेप्ट है, पर्यटन में संगठित और असंगठित दोनों क्षेत्र के उद्योग मिलते हैं। असंगठित क्षेत्र के ज्यादा हैं और संगठित क्षेत्र के कम हैं, लेकिन जो संगठित क्षेत्र के कम हैं वो बड़े बजट के भी होते हैं, छोटे बजट के भी होते हैं। सबसे मेरा आग्रह और अपेक्षा है कि आप लोग आइए और उत्तर प्रदेश की बदली हुई सूरत में आकर के अपने उद्योग लगाइए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत आभार।
Thank you, Honorable Minister. It was a fabulous input from you. And Lord Rama actually is a part of all our lives. उनको किसी भी रूप में हम समझना चाहें, प्रैक्टिकल अपने लाइफ में लाना चाहें, तो वो एक इस तरह के वो है जो हम में समा जाते हैं। और दीप प्रज्वलन का जो गिनीज बुक ऑफ वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड स्थापित किया है, वो सिर्फ एक वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड नहीं है, बल्कि एक चैलेंज है जो इस सरकार ने एक्सेप्ट किया, और हर पल वो चैलेंज एक्सेप्ट कर रही है वो सरकार। और उत्तर प्रदेश में पर्यटकों की संख्या 2019 का अगर आप डेटा देखिए तो 53.6 करोड़ डोमेस्टिक टूरिस्ट जो है हमारे प्रदेश में आया था, जो कि लगभग 23.1% टोटल टूरिस्ट ट्रैफिक डोमेस्टिक कॉन्टेक्स्ट में जो में जनरेट होता है वो हमारे यूपी के पास था। और इसी तरह से फॉरेन टूरिस्ट अराइवल भी 2019 के जो थे वो हमारे 47.5 लाख थे, जो कि बहुत ही एक इम्प्रेसिव फिगर है इसके लिए। इंडीड इट वाज अ great session on Ayodhya. I think we should see Ayodhya as one example of how, in a time-bound manner, such a mega project can be handled by a proactive and go-getter government, and that too so effectively. The vision of our very able Prime Minister and the Chief Minister is being actually translated so well by equally able Minister of Tourism and Culture, Mr. Dr. Neelkant Tiwari, and the officers at the ministry level, Mr. Mukesh Meishram, and even the district level within Ayodhya, as we heard from Mr. Anuj Jha, the district magistrate of Ayodhya. We've had a really great series, I would say, that included big-wigs from the industry, tourism, education, travel media, government officials, including an impressive international presence in most of our webinars as expert speakers. I'm really happy to inform you that we were collectively watched by 25,000 viewers throughout the series, and this included viewers not only from across India, but even from foreign countries, including the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, to name just a few. Minister Dr. Tiwari and Principal Secretary Mr. Meishram, I must inform you that FICCI is also preparing a report on this entire series, which will soon be presented to the Department of Tourism, Government of Uttar Pradesh, and will hopefully add to the vision for tourism development in Uttar Pradesh. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm privileged to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of Government of Uttar Pradesh, Department of Tourism, MKITM, and FICCI, not only for today's session, but for the entire series that ends today. I first of all thank our Minister, Dr. Neelkant Tiwari, for taking out time and being with us this afternoon, and also in the opening session as well on the 20th of July. This only shows UP government's resolve to be tourism ready and emerge as the most tourist friendly state in the times to come. I'm equally honored to thank Mr. Mukesh Meishram, Principal Secretary and DG Tourism and Culture, for conceptualizing this series of webinars, and of course, in most of the sessions, being present himself. I express my gratitude to Professor Manoj Dixit, for being with us today and talking about this his most favorite subject, tourism, and that too in context to his most favorite place, Ayodhya. Sir, having personally worked with you in Ayodhya, I vouch for all the difference you have made to Ayodhya, especially among its youth who constructively are an inclusive part of Ayodhya's growth now. Thank you, Professor Dikshit. A very special thanks to Mr. Anuj Kumar Jha, the District Magistrate and Collector of Ayodhya, who's charting the roadmap of Ayodhya's development, growth, and inclusiveness. And I must mention that FICCI is thoroughly impressed by the amount of constructive work which is going on in Ayodhya, and would be happy to partner with the district and be a part of this growth story called Ayodhya. Thank you, Mr. Jha, for being with us today and letting us all know so many things that are going on in Ayodhya. I must collectively now thank once again all the panelists who had been on our panels joining us from India and abroad as speakers in the past since the series began on 20th of July, and all of whom, I must say, added immense value to this mega series, Being Tourism Ready. I must thank Mr. Avinash Chandra Misra, the Joint Director, UP Tourism, Dr. Anushri Banerjee, Publicity Officer, UP Tourism, and our FICCI team, Mr. Manisha Ahuja, Amit Gupta, Chetan, Gaurav, and Divjot Anand, who relentlessly worked for making this series a thorough success. And of course, thanks to 4,816 guests who have joined us today to view today's session, and also collectively to all who have joined us all through the sessions of this webinar series. It was indeed a fabulous series, I would say, and which ends today, and first of its kind by any state in India. And I personally enjoyed hosting and moderating all its editions and gained so much from it sitting in the comfort of my own office. Once again, on behalf of FICCI, I commit to partner with the government of Uttar Pradesh in its trajectory of growth and development, realizing the dream of our Prime Minister and that of our Chief Minister, in whose direction the state is prospering and growing. Thank you once again to all of you. Jai Hind, Jai Uttar Pradesh, Jai Siya Ram.